Hello and welcome back to the Warmies here on this Wednesday evening in Calgary, Alberta. My name is Mike Gould, joining you live from the Sports Interaction studio, once again located in a super secret boardroom in a CSIS black site. Maybe just more like an upstairs side closet where I can do some little show called The Warmies, brought to you by Sports Interaction. Great folks. Getting us en route tonight is the Calgary Flames getting set to take on the Detroit Red Wings at the Scotiabank Saddledome. The Flames, fresh off 3 straight wins, all 3 wearing their Blasty uniforms. They will not be wearing Blasty tonight. They will be wearing their red retro threads. Feels like it's been years since we've seen them wear them because they wore Blasty for 3 straight, and then they were on the road for a couple weeks before that. So the Flames back in red, as we have not seen them wearing those uniforms in a hot second. Should be fun tonight. We'll kick things off right away with the lines from the good folks over at Sports Interaction with odds, futures, and lines. Games you like, props you like. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. Get in on the action with parlay boosts, live betting, and easy deposits and payouts. You bet now at sportsinteraction.com/FlamesNation. We'll kick things off by having a look at just the money lines for today's game. It is Calgary against Detroit, and it's looking pretty even, -110 on both sides. The Red Wings undeniably ahead of the Flames in most iterations of the standings at this point, but the Flames, they're hot. They've won 3 straight games. Their top 6 is going, and well, it's been good. It's been good running for them. The Red Wings, they're playing all right. The Red Wings have been on a decent little run of things of late. They're getting production from parts of their lineup. Their pairing of Sider and Edvinsson, 2 Yzerman draft picks, has been outstanding. And I mean, there will be lots to talk about the defense as we continue to move forward here. Red Wings in their last 10, they are 4-4-2. They are 16-11-3 on the year, putting them in 3rd place in the Atlantic Division, which is just absolutely razor thin and as far as margins go in the early stages of this season. So lots to dig into for these 2 teams. It'll be an interesting jersey matchup at the Dome, to be certain. The Flames, of course, with red. The Red Wings with red. Of course, no yellow on their side, but it's still going to be a relatively aesthetically pleasing matchup for these 2 teams. Good to see some folks in the chat. Anand, our buddy, is watching along with us on this Wednesday evening. Our buddy Jack Rosa in the chat as well. KQ and Jux JC, good to see y'all around. And if anybody wants to throw any dollars the youth centers of Calgary's way, you can do so by way of the Super Chat. Proceeds from the Super Chat benefits the youth centers of Calgary. It's a place where kids can go to get the care and compassion and are able to unwind to the extent that they need. So throw those Super Chats in the chat and we'll read them up live with you on the stream. Flames, Red Wings here on Warmies. It's going to be a fun one tonight. The Flames, as we've mentioned, 3 straight wins, 3 wins wearing the Blasty jerseys. It's going to be fun. They have won games against Utah, against Buffalo, against Minnesota, and they're going up tonight against a Red Wings team that has a solid forward group for sure. And we're going to kick things off just with the news of the day. And Ryan Pender in the chat, good to see at V's voice there sounding off. Need the Gould Brzustewicz takes. First of all, you're missing a U in there, Ryan. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is, but it's really exciting to see Hunter Brzustewicz in the Flames lineup for the first time this season, the 2nd time overall. Easy to forget that he was part of the lineup in the season finale against the LA Kings last year, when, of course, Zane Parekh overshadowed him a little bit and scored his first NHL goal in that game. But by the same token, Brzustewicz, his underlying numbers in that game against the Kings, meaningless game as it was, were fantastic. He looked, totally at home in the NHL in his 1 game last year. Still wrong, Pinder. Still wrong. The first 3 letters are BRZ, like business revitalization zone. But I give you a little bit of credit. You're getting up there a little bit in age, just sort of your eyes, it's hard to differentiate, distinguish a little bit of time. So we appreciate your best efforts there, Ryan, but it's Anand got it right. Anand's got the youthful exuberance. Anand is just on the ball. But yeah, Brzustewicz is super exciting. Ryan Pike, we'll hear from him later on in the show, but he has always mentioned how good a pairing Brzustewicz and Yan Kuznetsov was at the American Hockey League level last year. And you can see why both in terms of the way that Kuznetsov plays and has played in the NHL, but also the way that Brzustewicz has played at various tournaments like Penticton, how he has played generally in the American League. If you go to any of those Wranglers games, he is super smooth. Kuznetsov super steady. And they're not going to be playing on the same pairing tonight. Maybe, Michael, let's start with the defensive pairings for the Flames, because that's where the intrigue is. They're going to be on different pairings. It is going to be Joel Hanley with Hunter Brzustewicz on P3. Brzustewicz is going to be wearing jersey number 48 for the Flames tonight. Curious to see if and when Brzustewicz does become a full-time member of the Flames lineup, if he ends up changing that number, because it's a little bit unwieldy, especially for a defenseman. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Hanley Brzustewicz makes all sorts of sense as a stylistic pairing. You know, you talk about Brzustewicz with Kuznetsov. Well, Hanley does a lot of those same things, and it's going to be really cool to see those two on a pairing together. Speaking of jersey numbers, by the way, hey, you know what number Brzustewicz wears with the Wranglers and wore with the Kitchener Rangers in the Ontario Hockey League? Well, with the Rangers, he wore number 4, which may soon become available here in Calgary. Just putting it out there. And of course, with the Wranglers, he wears number 5. So I don't know about 5 being available. It is available right now, but nobody wears it for the Flames. But wouldn't that be something if a guy who came to Calgary by way of a trade with the Vancouver Canucks, much like Rasmus Andersson did. If you'll remember, the Rasmus Andersson draft pick was acquired from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for Sven Baertschi way back in the day. Sort of a 6 foot and change right shot defenseman, a decent skater. We'll get to that super chat in a minute. A decent skater, maybe not a blazer, but not a bad skater, but really smooth, really skilled. Confident. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people realize the swagger that Brzustewicz plays with, but I don't know if people realized that when Andersson was coming in either. Brzustewicz has a lot of swagger in his game, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him on the ice. So wouldn't that be something if maybe when it comes when it comes in, maybe when it comes to it, maybe it's Brzustewicz who takes over Rasmus Andersson's mantle and wears number 4. Pike saying Brzustewicz was a Ranger, not a Blazer. That's what I said, Pike. I said he played for the Kitchener Rangers. I didn't say he played for the Kamloops Blazers. Come on, Pike. We'll go over this in about 5 minutes. When we bring Ryan Pike on the show, we do have a super chat from Nathan Explosion 1989. Mike is bad, but that's okay. I am too. You're right. I am bad, and I appreciate the super chat because that super chat is very good. $2 for the U Centers of Calgary. That's for those of you who don't know, that's a bit of an inside joke. I don't know if Nathan Explosion 1989 really means that I'm bad, but maybe he does. And in either sense, he'd be right. So we appreciate the candor and the generosity from Nathan Explosion 1989. Yeah, super exciting about Hunter Brzustewicz. And I'm sorry, Jux JC. I'm sorry that swagger's an annoying word, but he's got it. He's a fun player. And I think you look at the trajectories. Of course, Rasmus also came from the OHL with the Barrie Colts. The production comparisons between Rasmus in his respective year and Brzustewicz in his years coming up through the OHL, they are very similar in that sense. Quickly acclimated to the AHL in both senses. And it is, I think, going to be a really easy transition for Brzustewicz to get into the NHL. Super excited by him. And yeah, both came by way of Vancouver. Of course, you don't really have to do a whole lot of work to connect the dots with how Brzustewicz arrived in Calgary as part of the Elias Lindholm trade. Going back to a previous comment from our buddy Anand, question for Mike specifically and anyone in the chat. Which is your favorite Flames jersey? I can't. It's like picking between my children, Anand. Come on. There's so many great opportunities to choose a great jersey. I don't really dislike any of them if you go back over the years, except for the ones that have flags on them. But I think the 04s, which are coming back next year, something about them. They just got perfect amount of contrast while also being bright. The current Flames jerseys don't have a lot of contrast, in my opinion. The 04s have that contrast that really make them stand out. We'll go talk about the Flames forward lines, and there's not a whole lot of changes from their wins in the Blasty uniforms. The Nazem Kadri line with Joel Farabee and Yegor Sharangovich is listed as line number 2, but in reality, it's been the Flames' top line over the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. But Morgan Frost, Matty Coronado, and Jonathan Huberdeau have played well as well. Michael Backlund between Blake Coleman and Connor Zary on line number 3, and Johnny Beecher sandwiched between Ryan Lomberg and Adam Klapka on line 4. The stats with that second line, quote unquote, have been outstanding since they were put together 11 games ago, outchancing and outscoring their opponents by wide margins. And those 11 games that they've played together, Kadri has 15 points, Farabee has 8, and Sharon Govich has 7. And all 3 players were playing extremely well on Monday night when the Flames defeated the Buffalo Sabres at the Scotiabank Saddledome by a 7-4 final score. Kadri and Sharon Govich were the first and second stars, respectively, with 3 points apiece. We should mention Devin Cooley between the pipes for the Calgary Flames today. We're in the red home retro jerseys. Cooley has been excellent in the early goings of the season, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him tonight. Especially, Cooley may be one of the least proven goaltenders, least established is probably the better word, least established goaltenders in the National Hockey League, going up against one of the most established goaltenders in the National Hockey League at the other end of the ice, a player who it felt like the Anaheim Ducks were going to be trading imminently for a very, very long time, and only just did this past offseason in John Gibson. Gibson, though, has had a bit of a rough start to his Red Wings tenure. He is 7-7-1. With an .881 save percentage and 1 shutout in 16 games this season. If you compare that to his tandem partner, Cam Talbot, Talbot hasn't been that much better. He is 9, but he has a better record. He is 9-4-2 with an .884. So the Red Wings, they have a solid record. They're in 3rd place in the Atlantic, but their goaltending has maybe held them back a little bit. They might have won some of these games in spite of their goaltending performances. That's certainly not the case for the Calgary Flames and, in general. We'll have a look at the Red Wings forward lines this season and tonight. They have been a relatively top-heavy team, Detroit has. Their top line, Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, they've both had excellent starts. Emmett Finney, the 2023 7th-round pick from Lethbridge, Alberta, is still on the left side of that top line. He started the year red hot. He has really cooled off of late. I think he only has 2 points in his last 16 games, does Emmett Finney, but gets the chance to play in Calgary for the first time in his NHL career tonight. The rest of the Red Wings forward group is really something. Andrew Kopp between Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. Kane has been just a disaster at 5-on-5 this season. DeBrincat has been a little bit better, but Nate Danielson, Marco Kasper, and Elmer Soderblom. And on line number 4, it is JT Compher between Michael Rasmussen and the red-hot James Van Riemsdyk, who now has 7 goals in 24 games this season. And I believe that includes, 6 in his last 8, something like that. He's been just absolutely red-hot, scorching hot, however you want to call it, for the Detroit Red Wings of late. It's a very top-heavy lineup for Detroit, and see how they can muster up or match up against Devin Cooley here tonight. On defense for the Detroit Red Wings, we talked about how Simon Edmondson and Moritz Seider have been outstanding this season. They truly have been. And that is sort of made up for the relative hodgepodge nature of the rest of Detroit's defensive group. Ben Sherratt paired with Axel Sandin Pellikka on pairing number 2 for Detroit, and on P3, it is Albert Johansson and Jacob Bernard Docker. So you've heard likely all the talk about Quinn Hughes, and if he doesn't go to New Jersey, there are people already sort of saying maybe the Detroit Red Wings are a possible spot for that player, and you can kind of see why with how their defensive alignment is structured. 2 really good players at the top, and then the rest is just a bit of a house of cards in a certain sense. So Detroit, a team certainly with upside, but have not been able to completely realize it. And of course, it's been a season in which a lot of teams have struggled to break out of that mushy middle. And there are already folks who are talking in the chat about how the Flames are trending back towards the mushy middle. And yet they still keep getting a lot of help on the out-of-town scoreboard because other teams are doing whatever they can to be competitive. The Flames, as it stands, are tied with the Buffalo Sabres for the 3rd worst record in the National Hockey League. There are people in the chat talking about how they are worried about picking 11th or 15th. And they got a long way to go before they get there. Their underlyings are starting to slide a little bit. The Flames have been sub 50% expected goals at 5-on-5 in 6 of their last 7, and they've been getting wins. They're starting to get a little bit more fortunate shooting luck, but I just wonder the extent to which that will continue. So I don't think Detroit is a particularly good team by any means. I think the Flames could absolutely win tonight's game. I just think that there will be a lot of opportunities for the Flames to continue to lose as the season goes on. And when you dig yourselves a hole like the Flames have, it's hard to get out of it. Like losing those games at the start of the season, it is just a huge obstacle that they have given to themselves as far as getting back even just 500. It's going to be a long, long way to go there. Shrimp on the Barbie brings up a really interesting point. Far be it for me to sort of promote other outlets here, but there was an interesting article that came out today at The Athletic talking about the top of this year's draft. And, Gavin McKenna, by one of their prospect analysts, ranked 4th overall in the 2026 prospect rankings behind Tynan Lawrence, Keaton Verhoff, and Ivor Stenberg. And to me, it reminds me of the 2013 draft, which, when you think about it, was kind of the start of the Flames' last quote-unquote rebuild when they got Sean Monahan at 6. And to me, looking at Gavin McKenna this year reminds me of Nathan McKinnon's draft year, where he had an incredible draft -1 season, where in 2011-12 he was, the best player on the Halifax Mooseheads in the QMJHL, and he looked like a future #1 center. And then the following year, Halifax continues to be incredible. McKinnon continues to be very good. He didn't take a huge step forward. He went from 78 points in 58 games to 75 points in 44 games. That is a step forward, make no mistake about it. His playoff production was comparable. And there were people saying, well, is this guy plateaued? Is he not going to improve anymore? And then you looked at it from a similar standpoint of Jonathan Drouin went from 29 points in his 16-year-old season to 105 points with Halifax in his draft year. And there were folks out there saying Drouin was better than McKinnon because of that leap in their respective draft years, the changes in their draft years. And I'm not ready to say, to me, in this equation, would you rather have the McKinnon type guy, or would you rather have, are you going to compare Ivor Stenborg to Jonathan Drouin? Maybe. Are you going to compare Seth Jones to Keaton Verhoff? Maybe. I just have a real hard time looking past what Gavin McKenna did in his 16-year-old season and saying, because he went to Penn State, because it took the money there, and because he has struggled to go that much above point per game on a Penn State team that isn't very strong, that he suddenly lost all that goodwill. I'm not even ready to consider that yet. So I think it's really interesting, make no mistake. And I think we're getting to the point in the season where the draft stuff is just going to keep ramping up, and it's going to keep just exploding exponentially. But I just wonder, if Gavin McKenna was back in Medicine Hat this year and he already had 80 points, this conversation wouldn't be happening. But he's not back in Medicine Hat. He's in Penn State. He's at Penn State playing for a program that has historically not really produced much in terms of NHL talent. So I don't really buy it, but it's relatively early. There's lots of hockey still left to play. And Lord knows certain guys have looked like first overall picks in their 16-year-old seasons and gone on to be second rounders. Gavin McKenna's trajectory doesn't look like that. It looks like a guy who was projected to be first overall since he was 15 and is now sort of still at the top, but equivocating a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's a really interesting topic to delve into. And Shrimp on the Barbie raises a very good point. He's playing against older people too at Penn State. He is. So I am certainly not ready to sort of say Gavin McKenna is not the guy who the Calgary Flames need. I think it'll be very exciting if the Flames can get a player of that caliber in the draft. It's never easy to project what these guys will be, and all the prospect analysts out there have a very difficult job. Pro Kids Phantom X, Mike, you're looking real tonight. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. So are you. So are you. And just to sort of build on that, here's some real interesting numbers from the folks over at Sports Interaction. Let's have a look first at the goalie props, Michael. Looking at the two starting goaltenders tonight, Devin Cooley versus John Gibson. And it is a really interesting battle tonight. Like I said, Devin Cooley and John Gibson, basically opposites as far as how established they are. Gibson came into the NHL with a huge laurel wreath on his head as the savior in Anaheim, the heir apparent to J.S. Giguère. And he has been in the league for over a decade. He's played a ton. He was paid a ton of money. And Devin Cooley's here making his ninth career start at age 28. And here they are, mano a mano. And the odds are not all that different. The over for saves for both of them set at 24.5, and the lines very, very similar. It is just it's amazing to me to see that this is a goalie matchup in the year 2025. And let's have a look again at some Red Wings props just to show you a little bit more from the good folks over at Sports Interaction. Let's look at the Red Wings, because the Flames, they've won 3 straight. So that sort of leads you to say, oh, are they due to drop off a little bit? And if they are, well, here's some ideas for player points. I might go under on Emmett Finney just because he's been super cold, but I also might go over a half a point because this is his first game playing in Calgary. He's a Lethbridge kid. He's been cold. Maybe that means he's due to score. And that's a pretty favorable plus 150 for over a half a point, especially for a guy who's playing with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. So maybe one I would consider there for Emmett Finney at plus 150 on the over a half a point. We'll get Ryan Pike in here. We've sort of left him hanging a little bit. Holy smokes. It's already 6:24. Our buddy Ryan Pike joining us live from the Scotiabank Saddledome press box. And he's got a different mic again. What is that, Pike?
It's a microphone. How you doing?
Holy smokes. Did you bum that off Pinder for like $12 or something? Is that his old Penticton V's press box apparatus?
I got it off of eBay.
So
I got a good rate.
It was probably him. How are the Warmies tonight, Pike?
I mean, there's some enthusiasm. People are excited about seeing Hunter Brzustewicz tonight, and for good reason. He's been a very good AHL defenseman, and I think we hear the Flames coaching staff talking about setting people up for success. He's going to be paired with Joel Hanley on the third pair, and we've seen plenty of guys have some good nights on the flank of Joel Hanley this year.
Pike, Hunter Brzustewicz, the obvious discussion point with Hunter is that there's always going to be not only comparisons to Rasmus Andersson because of the way that they are sort of intersecting.
Because they're right shot defensemen from the OHL?
Well, they're intersecting in a certain way, as one arrives, one leaves, possibly.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Zane Parekh.
Sure. Just stomp all over my narrative, just like that.
They're very different players.
Tell me.
Very different players. Anderson was pure offense, and I think he had to learn how to be a more complete player at the AHL level. And as we've seen, he's done that really nicely. Brzustewicz, I think Brzustewicz's checking game was really underrated. And then he came in and he just learned how to play AHL style hockey with Yan Kuznetsov last year. So, I mean, I think I would say Brzustewicz is a really well-rounded defenseman at the AHL level who can do a lot of things for you. Whereas, I think early at the same juncture in his career, I would argue that Rasmus Andersson was more one-dimensional.
So what you're saying is that Hunter Brzustewicz will be better than Rasmus Andersson. Is that what you're saying, Pike?
I mean, as a 20-year-old, I trust one a bit more to kill penalties than the other one. But
wow,
I think Anderson did a hell of a lot to really round out his game, and he is legitimately I don't think he's the Norris guy this year, but the fact that he's anywhere close to the Norris echelon this year in terms of production, in terms of overall impact, is it's a big step for him, especially in a contract year.
We have a super chat from Shrimp on the Barbie saying that you're looking like Michael Buffer with your microphone. It's time to get ready to rumble. People in the chat have all sorts of praise for Pike's get up tonight at the Saddledome. How's attendance looking, Pike? It's a Wednesday night. Should be national game, right?
It's a half hour earlier than usual, and people who come to Flames games tend to go home first. So I think the first period it might look a little bit lean as people make their way in, but you got to do what the TV overlords ask you to do. And so tonight we get a 6:30 start. It's
super duper exciting. Hey, view on the other side, Pike. What do you want to see from Detroit tonight? What do you think we're going to see from the Red Wings tonight?
Oh man, their top two lines are very nice. It sounds like Travis Hamonic is back in the lineup for the Red Wings. So yeah, the scratches. Bernard Docker is out. Travis Hamonic is back in for the winged wheel, and so forever a Flame. Travis Hamonic comes back to his old stomping grounds.
Very interesting.
Dylan Larkin, very good. Lucas Raymond, very good. Alex DeBrincat, very good. After that, it gets kind of lean. And, I'm sure there's 31 teams in the league that would kill to have those three players. But I think if you're Detroit, you look at some of the depth other teams have and go, we need to fill in the gaps a little bit.
Yeah, wow. Well, interesting note about Hamonic there, of course. Played for the Flames for 3 seasons. And interesting to see him replacing JBD, his old teammate from Ottawa. Given where Hamonic's at this point in his career, though, maybe bet the over tonight, folks. So good stuff. Hey, any last things, Pike? Any other things sticking out from you from the Warmies?
No, it should be. I'll say this: as much as everyone loves the black jerseys and the black jerseys look magnificent, there's something about an original 16 coming in, and you're using your classic 80s jerseys. It just feels like a classic matchup.
It's going to be a big night. We appreciate it, Pike, and you're dressed for the occasion. That is our buddy Ryan Pike. Thanks, Pike. That is our buddy Ryan Pike live from the Scotiabank Saddledome, joining us over newfangled wireless connection communication technologies. We appreciate him joining us on this Wednesday night. Can Trader Inc. with a very salient point, mentioning how the Flames Hamonic pick turned into Noah Dobson. I had tried to forget that, but you are correct. So yeah, not necessarily a happy reunion, I wouldn't necessarily say per se. Although to give him credit, Hamonic did have a solid year with the Flames in 2018-19. It just was never quite worth the first and 2 seconds that the Flames gave up to acquire him from those New York Islanders. Really good stuff on the Warmies show tonight. One more time, we're going to tell you about the good folks over at Sports Interaction. Whatever your bet, just hand on over there. It is it is sportsinteraction.com/FlamesNation with odds, futures, lines, whatever you like. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. It's Canada's homegrown sportsbook. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. One more time, that is sportsinteraction.com/FlamesNation. Well, the puck drop is about 5 minutes away, just past 6:30 local time here in Calgary. We will sign off for now. Enjoy tonight's game. Be back with you after the game on Afterburner. Until then, my name is Mike Gould. For producer Michael and everybody in the chat, and for our buddy Ryan Pike and Ryan Pinder for that matter, thanks for joining us in the comments today, Pinder. My name again, Mike Gould, and you have been watching the Warmies.
Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.